Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really cutting straight through some of the usual self-help noise.
Yeah, we're aiming for something more practical.
Exactly. We've pulled together some really interesting sources, history, philosophy, even high-level sports insights.
Mm-hmm.
And we've sort of distilled them down into what feels like a practical operating manual.
Right.
The focus, intentional living, but specifically looking at the power, the kind of hidden power of small daily choices.
And if you're looking for maybe a blueprint for building that inner resilience, this is probably it.
You think so?
I do. The core idea across all these different materials is actually pretty stark. It's that character.
Well, it isn't just something you have. It's more like an engineering project.
An engineering project. I like that.
Yeah, life doesn't really pivot on one big heroic moment, you know.
Mhm.
It's more about this steady accumulation of all those seemingly tiny daily actions.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. We often wait for that lightning bolt, right? The huge decision.
But these sources are saying, nope, the quality of your future. It's being decided by the quality of your decisions right now, like moment to moment.
Precisely. It's about consciously guiding those choices, using good values, keeping an eye on the long-term results.
And making sure your motive, your why, is rooted in something solid, like integrity, staying true to yourself.
Absolutely. And that demands active engagement. You know, if you just let the world push you around, reacting all the time,
You're basically outsourcing your own character development.
you got it. The second you start making conscious, guided decisions, even tiny ones, that's when you start, really shaping your own path.
Okay, but here's something I wonder about. If we're focusing so much on these small, daily choices, what about the big shifts?
The pivots.
Yeah, the career changes,
Yeah.
breaking a major bad habit. Those huge course corrections we sometimes need. Does focusing small mean we ignore the big stuff?
That's a great point, a real tension there. But the way these sources explain it, those daily choices, they're actually the foundation that makes the big pivots even possible.
Oh.
They talk about our choices being like, well, magic is the word one used. Like building the person you're becoming, one brick at a time.
So choosing to practice a skill for 30 minutes instead of doom scrolling.
Mm.
That's laying a brick of determination.
Exactly. Or choosing patience when you're feeling grumpy. That's a brick of kindness.
Got it. So those tiny acts of self-discipline, they build the internal structure that lets you withstand the earthquake when a big life change hits.
That's it precisely. Often when people fail at those big pivots, it's because they haven't built up the internal resources, the discipline, the courage during the quieter times.
Right.
And the materials really warn against being hasty. Effective strategy, whether it's life or business, it needs that long-term view. Character change isn't instant. It takes time. It's a marathon.
Speaking of marathons and commitment, that brings us neatly to courage, doesn't it?
It does.
Because the sources we looked at argue that real bravery, well, it doesn't usually roar.
No, it's often that quiet inner voice. Sometimes the bravest thing is just admitting you messed up. And then making that promise to yourself, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. That quiet determination, that's the raw stuff that needs forging.
And wow, the Theodore Roosevelt story illustrates this perfectly.
Yeah.
We picture the Rough Rider, right? The powerful president.
The strenuous life guy.
Yeah. But we forget where he started.
He was such a fragile kid, bedridden a lot for the first, 12 years? Terrible asthma.
Yeah. And he came from privilege.
Yeah.
He could have just accepted a life of, comfortable weakness.
Easily. But then his father, a man Roosevelt really looked up to,
Gave him that line.
yeah, basically said, Theodore, you've got the mind, but not the body. And the mind needs the body to go the distance.
Not an insult, but like the diagnosis, a
That's
challenge.
Exactly. And that was the pivot. Young Theodore didn't just accept it. He said, with total conviction apparently, I'll make my body.
Wow.
He didn't wait for strength to find him. He chose to engineer it. Daily exercise, fighting the asthma, he forged the physical resilience he needed.
The implication there is huge, isn't it? For anyone listening.
Cool.
We're not stuck with the hand we're dealt. Nobody gets born with a steel backbone.
Nope. It has to be forged.
Through millions of conscious choices, choosing effort over comfort, discipline over ease.
And crucially, doing that forging before you need it. Adversity. Well, it's coming for everyone.
That's a certainty.
So if struggle is guaranteed, then preparation isn't just nice to have, it's basic survival.
Which loops right back to that classical wisdom. Prepare for the storm when the weather's fair.
Right. Plutarch's advice, in youth, one should store up discipline and self-restraint as a provision for old age.
build a toolkit when things are calm.
Exactly. Develop discipline, emotional control, all that, when the stakes are relatively low. So when the storm does hit, those tools aren't new concepts. They're part of who you are.
And that connects to maintaining internal equilibrium, right?
Yeah.
The sports psychology stuff mentioned, aiming for the same state of mind, whether you're winning or losing, that sounds really hard.
It does sound hard, but it's about focusing laser-like on what you actually control. The final score, the market, what other people do that's outside your circle.
Yeah.
But your internal state, your effort, how you respond when things go wrong.
That's all mine.
That's all yours. And that internal balance, that equilibrium, that's the payoff for all that preparation.
Okay, and flowing from that, we get to confidence. I like how blunt the sources were here, basically. Confidence works better than the alternative.
Yeah, whether it's rational or not.
Right.
It's a pragmatic choice. Think about it. Fear and doubt. They just freeze you up. They're the real roadblocks. Confidence is the internal permission slip to actually try, even if you aren't sure how it'll turn out. By choosing confidence, you enable action. And action is the only way to actually grow or master anything.
So it all comes back to that sort of stoic core, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Focus intensely on what's yours, the effort, the choices, the response.
Mm-hmm.
Let the outcomes be what they will.
Mm-hmm.
The sources remind us, you have the strength, you have the capacity and courage and endurance.
Yeah.
It's not about finding it somewhere else.
It's about activating what's already there.
Right. Activating it.
And activating that internal stuff, well, it often means pivoting away from chasing external validation.
Which brings us to Peter Drucker. That observation he made, it hits hard.
About usefulness.
Yeah. That we spend way too much time worrying about just surviving or even succeeding in the conventional sense, when the real question should be about usefulness. Am I contributing something?
It totally reframes everything, doesn't it? It shifts the life question from am I winning or am I okay to am I actually doing something worthwhile?
Yeah. Drucker forces that choice, being someone's status, titles.
Right. Versus doing something tangible action, making a difference. And the answer is pretty clear. To be or to do. To do.
And it doesn't have to be flashy. The sources just say, quietly get things done.
Takes the ego right out of it. It becomes about the work itself, not the applause.
Which lines up perfectly with how Pele talked about success. Remember that. Success is no accident.
Oh yeah. Pure process. He listed it out. Hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice.
And most of all, love of what you're doing or learning to do.
Success is just the natural result of committing to that kind of useful, consistent process.
And when you commit to that kind of process, you start connecting with other people doing similar things.
Yeah.
Right. Which brings us to that city metaphor from Seth Godin.
Ah, yes. Cities as contagious connectors.
Yeah, they don't just happen. They persist because the network effect makes it better to be in the system than out of it.
We connect our efforts, and we thrive. It's natural.
Seems like a big thumbs up for connection. But I guess there has to be a balance, right? To avoid just getting lost in the crowd or burning out.
Oh, absolutely. There's a vital boundary. Paulo Coelho nails it. When you say yes to others, make sure you are not saying no to yourself.
Yeah, good one.
You need connection, definitely. But it has to be within structures that align with your own core values, the integrity you've been forging.
Otherwise, it just drains you.
Exactly. Joining something that compromises who you are, that's the opposite of intentional living.
Makes sense. We look outside for connection. And often, we look outside for happiness, too. But the sources kind of poke fun at that, right? With the Josh Billings quote.
Oh, the lost spectacles, yeah. If you ever find happiness by hunting for it, you will find it as the old woman did her lost spectacles sape on her own nose all the time.
No, it was always there.
It was always there. It just needed that internal alignment to be seen, to be felt, which supports that other principle. What truly belongs to you will come to you.
Which isn't passive waiting, you mean?
Not at all. It means when you focus on building your character through being useful, disciplined, making those intentional choices, the right opportunities, the right people, they just naturally gravitate towards you.
Like attracts like, in a way.
Sort of, and it ties into that idea about education. Good teachers, good mentors, they don't just give you answers.
They teach you to ask better questions.
Precisely, because wisdom isn't poured in from the outside. It has to be cultivated, drawn out from within you.
The work starts and ends inside.
Always.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. We've charted this path of intentional living through these deliberate daily choices, like Roosevelt's quiet resolve. We've talked about choosing confidence pragmatically, focusing on usefulness over just status, and really cultivating those inner resources.
Right.
The whole process, It really is like a blacksmith, isn't it?
Hmm.
Shaping metal in the fire. It's hard work. It's repetitive.
Can be painful.
Yeah, but it's absolutely necessary for real strength, lasting strength.
And maybe the most, I don't know, reassuring thing from all these sources is that the core strength, the capacity you need, it's not out there somewhere. It's already inside you.
We just need to forge it into reality.
Exactly. The goal isn't really to find happiness or success. It's to develop the internal conditions, the character, the discipline, so that happiness and success kind of emerge naturally, like side effects of living right.
Every single day is another chance at the forge then.
Yeah.
You decide, choice by choice, what kind of person you're building. You've got the tools. You've got the strength.
So maybe the final thought for you to chew on as you finish listening is this. What's one small choice you can make today, rooted in a value that matters long term? How will you keep forging your own resilience right now?
And remember that quiet voice,
Mm-hmm.
the one that says, I'll try again tomorrow. That's not giving up. That's where the real transformation begins.